This podcast is part of E2C Network, where we share the whole Auburn experience. David Housel described it best. We are living the whole of the Auburn experience. You can quantify it, you can qualify it through a variety of methods, time, people, places, and things. But at its heart and at its core, the Auburn experience is all about Auburn sports, Auburn culture, Auburn family. And of course, as always, remind you, if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. So thank you so much for joining us in what we're doing today, episode 169 of the Auburn Experience podcast. As always, I'm your host, Kyle Loomis, who didn't mess up the intro the first time on the actual recording for those of you that listen to the audio show, and the guy who didn't mess up the audio recording to start off the show, the better co-host, the more prepared, the more stoic, principled. I'm just throwing all the adjectives out as I can tonight. Mr. Austin Scott, welcome, sir.
More stoic, more principled, probably more fuzzy if you're watching us live, and with a slight audio delay every now and then. But we're both here. We're imperfect people. Don't expect to be living in a perfect world. So we're just here ready to get rolling.
Yeah, I'll do a little workshopping with you on this portion of the live stream. The fuzziness is still there, but hey, listen,
Excellent.
you just keep playing with it and figure out like what you need to do in terms of I don't think WT, who loves to give you crap about this type of stuff, is here this evening. I think he gave us a little forewarning of that, one of our regular attenders there. So you might be safe tonight from a lot of ridicule. Maybe Sam in the chat, I'll give him a shout out, can be that person tonight to give you crap for the audio and stuff. Think about this too. What was it? Last week you were in Chattanooga, and then I was in, obviously Auburn did some live streams, from there. So we've just been all over the place in different settings and different audio qualities, internet qualities right now. So we're just trying to keep people on their toes is all with this show.
That's all we're trying to do. And with WT not here tonight, that's why I decided to try something out, see if it works any better. We'll give it a rating toward the end of the show, but we're doing our best we can over here with our dial-up internet, as they like to say most days.
Well, listen, you do live on the further stretches out of the Auburn proper area and Opelika area, so I won't tell exactly where you are, but I can understand that.
Well,
y'all have.
It is, and it was more so when we lived here. The stretches of the Auburn area are expanding every day, and it is. I feel like we are not as far out as we used to be, but that's life in a ever evolving and advancing world. So the village on the plains is becoming a slightly larger village all the time.
And I know somewhat firsthand for things that we won't talk about today. No, I'm not moving to Auburn, folks.
Not yet.
I wish. Not yet. It's always out there as an option, but I don't seriously think we're any closer to that than we have been. But there are other reasons that I may be familiar with said area expanding even more so right now. Anyway, enough with the vague references to things. I want to start off the show with something because, folks, I say this here a lot. If you can't find a reason to be happy in the Auburn experience, I can't help you. There's been a lot of consternation about the big sports and whether or not they've been dropping the ball, whether AD changes need to happen because of those particular things. But right now, this week especially, lately, if you've not been paying attention and you can't find a reason to be happy with Auburn athletics and the Auburn experience, I cannot help you. There is so much absolute goodness going on for current events, for future things that we're going to talk about. Like that's part of the reason I messed up the intro of the show, because I'm sitting here just trying to make sure that we can cover everything that we need to tonight. So Austin, as I joked with you pre-show, we should never complain about Auburn giving us plenty to talk about. And it's a lot of good this week, from championships to future stuff and all in between. I mean, it's just good stuff all the way around.
All the way around. There's always something going on, especially in the springtime. And so this week is pure evidence of that. And if you limit yourself of the Auburn experience to only those big three sports, look, we get it. There's a lot going on, but if you limit yourself to just that and to just holding on to a small microcosm of the Auburn experience, you're selling yourself short, because there's plenty to go around and plenty to be excited about. That's just a small part of what we try to do on this show. So we've got plenty of that to talk about tonight, and this week was a big one.
Well, I don't want to steal thunder from you if there's anything that like personally you want to share in your Auburn experience, but I'm going to do this real quick. Whenever we do have an opportunity to do show and tell at lunch, I like to do, and this is nothing new. Like this is like an old item, but what a deal! They're putting them now at the Auburn University bookstore.
Oh,
The 2005 Final Four
2005,
hats.
huh?
2005, whatever. Yeah, not whatever I said there. 2025. Sorry about that. Math is hard.
2005, I don't remember it very well, but I can assure you it was nowhere close to the NCAA Final Four.
Actually, 2005. Yeah, that would have been probably towards the end. Yeah, we'll yeah, whatever. All right, Final Four 2025 hat. There you go. $5. $5 at the university bookstore. Now, there was like 3 of these left, so they're probably all gone because when people probably turned over and saw the price tag that I did, they gone. So I almost bought another one to give away, but I was in a hurry, as I typically am on campus, so I just grabbed one for myself. So I'm sorry that I was selfish, but you might see me actually wearing that for some of our basketball segments now, because I'll be honest, Austin, I will have different shirts we wear. Obviously, we're repping this for a reason tonight.
Yes.
But I don't really have like Auburn specific sports hats. Like I just got the generic Auburn, the Aubie.
Sure.
There's a football championship one from the locker room up there, but so that in a way, I've got some really generic hats. I need to get my game a little bit better for some of the sports, I guess.
Well, that's a pretty good one to have and a pretty good one to start with. And the greatest team in our men's basketball history, as we debated.
Oh, you want to start this?
Show. I thought we were in agreement on this. So were we not?
Here's what I'm going to say, and we can save this maybe for a future segment to make the points and lay them out. But this is an assessment that I think sometimes is prematurely had. Now, we are a year removed from that, so I will give you've waited a year to officially make that statement here with me. We've had like side discussions and things like that, but I think there's still a little bit of recency bias on that. And I don't know when that recency bias is up. We can debate that. Austin says no, but there is the question, was last year's basketball team the greatest Auburn basketball team of all time? I think it's probably yes, but I'm trying to be fair. And this is what I do as a podcaster anyway, is trying to leave the room open for nuance and stuff like that. So I'm sorry.
It'll be a summer discussion probably. But regardless, one of the best teams in Auburn men's basketball history, if nothing else. And so that's a good hat to represent it with.
It is. Did I leave you room for anything that you wanted to share, or is it all going to be covered in the A-Day part of things?
It'll probably all be covered in the A-Day part of things for the majority. Just the heat is starting to settle in the Auburn area. Today was a beautiful day, but
I bet it was.
But A-Day was a beautiful day and good weather, but it's that time of year and students are getting ready to take their finals and head off. And so that, that's a little bit inching to closer toward that summer vibe in Auburn, which is, as you well know, a unique and special time if you get to stick around. So, just all those things popping in my head as we go about our daily lives in the village.
What am I going to do with all of this extra space we have in the roads and things like that?
What all these extra restaurants that are now open and like available to the public? What am I going to do?
It sounds like you need to be making a rotation and a list this summer of things that you haven't been to lately and retry them so we can talk about them here on the show. So
our buddy Hunter was talking in the Conquer Club this week. He was in town.
Hold on. Yes. Thank you for bringing this up.
And was asking for where he should get going for some places to eat around town that he hadn't been. And he had some scandalous things to say about a local burger joint. I don't want to.
Yeah, that's fine. You don't have to say who, but I don't
want to defame them here because he was entirely wrong. But
so are we defaming Hunter? Or are we defaming them?
Yes, we're defaming Hunter. But it got me thinking that we should do. I think we should try to do this summer. Like I might report back on somewhere I've been this week, maybe a more local place. I'm not going to come back and report to you what I ate at Taco Bell.
Chick-fil-A,
but so that's a good idea because we gave him some things next time he's in town to try, and I liked our list. You brought up Amsterdam's Cafe, the non-fancy one that he should try, and we're both in agreement there because I remember you trying that most recently.
Well done is all I'll say on that one. So yeah, we can have that, but I just want to look right here in the camera. Hunter, what you said was blasphemous. And I have not forgiven you for it yet. It's going to take me a little while to.
I'm gonna give him a
second
second chance to get back over there, but
I don't even know if I'm gonna give him a second chance. Like I think.
And we're being very vague again, and so that's very annoying to some people. But I do want to say I think that we gave him the I told him, I said, well, you might need to go to Sheila C's and make sure you know what a good burger is, because I wasn't sure he knows what a good burger is after what he said about another place.
Yes.
So he needs to go to Sheila C's and make sure we're in agreement there.
We'll figure it out. So we have just gone from talking about all the positive things going on to Auburn.
Now we're hungry.
Now have you realized in this show, to start off, we have dogged 2 of our viewers, most loyal viewers already here. So this is what happens when you
become part
of the Conquer Club. You get mentioned on the show, I guess, and talk bad.
They do it to us every week in this comment section. I don't want to hear it.
That is right. I don't want to hear a dang thing from any of you. But let's get out of that hole we're digging for ourselves right now. Okay. Wow. I know I say it a lot, folks. What a show. You know the drill. We got Auburn Potpourri, 2 main topics coming up for you, and we're going to be stretched for time here this evening. But we are so excited to once again start our show for the 2nd week in a row talking about Auburn women's tennis, because not even but 2 hours ago on this Sunday evening that we're recording, your Auburn women's tennis team is not only the regular season SEC champions, but for the first time ever, but now officially SEC tournament champions for the first time ever in program history. Congratulations to Coach Zabo. Congratulations to the ladies of the team, the staff, everybody that's involved in that. Even had a conversation with one of the staff members this weekend in 8A and how proud we were about how they've been performing no matter what happened at that point. But here we sit today, an SEC championship, officially the tournament championship, I guess. We'll just call it a complete sweep of SEC championships for the year for Auburn women's tennis. Wow. Were you watching the matches at all? I know it wasn't everybody's go-to thing to watch, but were you tuned into it at all?
I was not tuned in. We were at the local park tonight. But I did follow along with some of those in our beat that were reporting on it. And it was a wild tournament. It was this week with upsets galore. So for Auburn to kind of stave off any of that and face a red hot underdog LSU team in the final and still take care of business is a good thing. So congratulations to them. You're wearing the shirt to celebrate. We are very proud of them. It's been a historic year. I think it was just 2 weeks ago we talked about the SEC regular season victory, maybe last week. I think it was last week.
Yeah.
So 2 fresh shows, 2 things to celebrate back to back for this women's tennis team, and I don't think we're done celebrating them this year.
Not quite. We still got an NCAA tournament to go. And just as a quick information for everybody about this SEC tournament, obviously is one of the top teams. They got some buys in that tournament, and then they made it through the quarterfinals. In the semifinals, they had to beat Texas A&M, Coach Zabo's old team, and a team that beat Auburn, one of the few Auburn teams to beat Auburn this year, got the win over them 4-1. And then you thought maybe they would find their way to facing Georgia, the other team to beat them this year, who's been ranked number 1 a lot, but they got upset. And so then it came for this, as you said, hot LSU team. And if you watch the match today, I was sitting on the edge of my seat because Auburn pretty much had a chance to lock it up the entirety of the game when they got the doubles point and then started, putting themselves in really good positions in singles. And then LSU, to their credit, just found a way to make this thing interesting. And it literally came down to the last possible situation, tiebreaker situation, final set, match, all that stuff. And boy, you can't, I'm going to not get everybody's name right and all that stuff to give credit but it just was a great day for Auburn women's tennis. And as you said, not done quite yet. SEC regular season champs, talked about that last week, but now officially the sweep SEC tournament champions, historic season, first time ever. Congratulations to them. It's awesome. Okay, we'll keep moving through potpourri here. Let's talk a little bit of recruiting news. Now, we don't tend to focus too much on the speculative stuff because why would you? It doesn't really change anything when you obsess about these things. But when people commit, not necessarily when they decommit, though there's a factor, I think, with this one. We will talk about them here today. So let's talk about the latest commitment for the 2027 class for Auburn. It is part of the A-Day magic, so this is almost like a precursor to that segment that we'll do with that. No shock here that the commitment that happens on the A-Day weekend is a tight end commit with Coach Golish's history of being very associated with that position, and he even said publicly, that's the most important position on the field. Tongue in cheek, I'm sure, but he does have a history with that. Your new commitment for 2027, George Lammons Jr., decided while he was here, looked like on a visit, I think, from a video that was going around, told coach in person in the locker room, I think is what it looked like, or some part of the facilities.
Looked like it.
And a new 2027 tight end commit. Now, this is off the heels of a decommit at the tight end position. Somebody went to Kentucky. Good luck to you. That's all I'm going to say there. But there you go. New commitment for the Auburn Tigers, and nice to get that as part of A-Day weekend.
Yeah, very cool. And that, like you said, that video of him telling him in person was very neat to see. And you can see how excited Coach Alex Golish is to get him in the boat. Like we always say in preface and warrant, it's a long way away, a long time till pen hits the paper, especially in today's world. But another good get in terms of how they're trying to build what they want. I think this is also relevant that it wasn't just someone committed to South Florida. I'm sure there are ties there and committed and ties of how long they've been recruiting him, but not someone that just jumped on the ship as he jumped to bigger, greater pastures. So yeah, I think it shows the level maybe the staff's willing to recruit at. Now they've kind of come up a step in college football royalty, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
So looking forward to seeing how that maybe could be a domino effect for more recruiting as we keep going, because these things tend to come in waves. And if anything we've seen about this staff is that they work hard. And so we're looking forward to seeing how that translates on the recruiting trail as well.
And just if you want a little bit of information of the current position of all of this with 2027 class, he would be technically now the second commit with that decommit. Donovan Moore, who we've previously talked about here, is the other one in that class. So one offense, one defense. There you go. And as you said, there could be some others starting to make their decisions and stuff, and maybe that's that little bit of extra momentum that makes people get excited, and who knows, flip a decision or things like that coming down the pipe. But for now, we're happy to have this brand new tight end commit, George Lammons, part of the team, part of the class, I should say. We'll hope and wait to see if that signing day becomes an official thing or not before we celebrate too much. Let's talk about some more roster news, but this time we're going to flip over to basketball. You thought we were done talking about it, folks. You knew
never.
We got a team to fill out, right? And certainly they did a bang-up job of getting people some very big signees or re-signees, I guess you would say, in some ways, with Tahad Pettiford coming back and so many more. Obviously, there's discussions about others that are still out there in the open and things like that. We won't focus on that too much here, but what we are going to focus on is a brand new addition to Auburn's 2026-7 roster for that season. And that is going to be by way of what did I say?
Nothing.
No, what did I say?
Nothing.
No. What did I say? No, you got. What did I say? Oh gosh, no.
Our audio people are dying. He some of you probably caught it though, audio with his Kyle's so trendy and hippie that he knows all these trends. He tries to slide him in there, think I won't see it, but I know what he's doing.
Austin.
I know what he's doing.
This is one of those times that I'm making hand gestures at you under the table, and I want to come through the screen right now. Anyway,
the 2026-27 roster.
Yes, the brand new addition to that team coming up here, and a 7-footer, which has a lot of people very excited. And one of the more interesting names out there, let's just get right out there and say it, Buki Oboye. And if you are a March Madness fan, you know this name, because if you were paying attention, one of the more upstart teams from Santa Clara has decided to come be part of the roster. So a 7 foot plus, I can't remember what his exact measurables were. Center,
maybe 7'1", right around there.
Somewhere, it doesn't matter. That's what people seem to focus on. Are they above 7? It doesn't, just because they're 7 foot doesn't mean that's the answer, folks. But it certainly makes things very good. Buki Oboye coming over from Santa Clara, the Broncos. They were one of the teams that were a little bit hot as one of the mid majors and nearly pulled some stuff off. I know horseshoes is where it almost counts, but either way, exciting to have someone with some high profileness to him coming over to add to that. Now, what feels like very full depth for the big man center position at Auburn when you added in with Narcisse Ngoy and the potential of Emeka Oporum officially coming back. There's not been any official statement on that, but I mean, listen, hey, I'll take it to get us started in the portal, essentially.
Yeah, certainly, and I do think that we might see Aboye play some 4 as well. I think that he has that in his game, and but an absolute dunking machine, very athletic. Looks like he runs a lot of similar stuff that Auburn was able to do with Jalen Williams and Chaney Johnson, and that kind of movement in the middle space. Very athletic. So I think he brings an element that Auburn obviously wanted to get bigger and taller. With Narcisse Ngoy and Buke Aboye, they are definitely on the right track with doing that. So we'll see what it looks like. Maybe a little bit of the 2 tall towers in the middle there for Auburn basketball next year. A little bit different look, but definitely still a lot of roster spots to come. So we'll see how those fill out. I think we could definitely see more this week as we get going, but because there's plenty left. But a great start, like you said, NCAA tournament experience, winning culture experience, and looking forward to continuing to butcher his name as much as we can.
I think we've got it right, Buki Aboye, and because I heard it said a lot.
Just got to get it a lot. Just got to repeat it. Buki Aboye, Buki Aboye, Buki Aboye.
You just keep on going there. You want to
just play that on loop. Clip that. Just play it on loop.
Just play it on loop the entire time. No, but seriously, I mean, like that's the big thing people are focusing on is how this makes people feel. One of the discussion points of this year was we're not tall enough, we're not big enough, and like I hear you on that, but it's not necessarily the thing that makes somebody win. You can win without having quote unquote size advantage. You've got obviously the 2018-19 team, the Final Four team you can point to there where your starting center was, I believe, 6'9" at best. That's your starting center. That was Anthony McLemore. Certainly Austin Wiley was on that team and he was 6'10", I believe, but it's not what you do with the measurables you have. It's what you do with the measurables you have, not necessarily the height. So I always want to remind people of that, but regardless of that, Buki Aboye, very excited to see what he can do with this team and the start of what is going to be a fun process of filling out the team in the portal. We're going to keep going here in potpourri. This time we're going to be catching you up on baseball. Big weekend because, listen, there was a lot of discussions about, I don't want to say people use the phrase make or break series, but you could understand why people felt that way with dropped opportunities of winning the Texas series, being swept by Alabama. Yes, Bama fans, you swept us. Go ahead. And then just some other little disappointments here and there along the way because there was such a good stretch there for Auburn baseball. And then leading into this and then the back half of the SEC play, going to Gainesville and getting a win is utterly, just immensely important. But if you can get a series win, that is huge for your resume for tournament selection time because, that's going to be, that could be the difference, Austin, between Auburn's going to make the tournament at this point, right? Like, that's just obvious, but that could be the difference between hosting just a regional and hosting a regional and a super regional. Obviously you got to take care of your business there too, but big win for the Auburn Tigers. They dropped the first game 3-6, but they go into the final 2 games. They win 5-3 and 8-5. And Auburn really had to fight back in that final game to get the win here in Gainesville, which I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Austin, hasn't been done in a certain amount of time where Auburn took a series in Gainesville. So we have just exercised all those demons in all sports in Gainesville, it feels like right now.
Yeah, you really have. And that's not been easy for Auburn for a long time with a lot of losses down in Gainesville. And like you said, kind of after Friday night, you're looking at them like, oh boy, here we go. But Auburn baseball goes in, survives a scare on Saturday night with the bases loaded in the ninth, and Eric Guevara pulls off an incredible defensive play to end that game. And then Auburn bats go absolutely nuclear on Saturday, because it's all back.
Yeah, it's confusing.
Saturday, during the pregame A-Day festivities, which was kind of fun for everybody to get to watch together on the Jumbotron. And pull off a series win. And like you said, something they really needed. They got 2 out of 3 with Arkansas. and didn't get beat in the midweek this week and beat a really good Alabama State team, but just continued momentum and good momentum to have going in this week with another SEC series at Plainsman with Oklahoma this upcoming weekend. So just really good stuff, and impressive for Auburn. Butch Thompson gets his 350th win as a head coach at Auburn. And so what a great place to do it.
I'm so ashamed of myself that we didn't mention that as part of this. So thank you for covering that part. 350 wins for Butch Thompson here. I mean, he didn't inherit a program that was in like horrendous position, but like it could have been better. So the fact that he has built this program up to where it's so respectable, where he is able to get up to this 350 wins, I just feel like I feel like it was pretty quick, to be honest with you. Maybe others disagree with that, but that's a huge accomplishment for him. And as much as you and I talk about how much we love about Butch Thompson, so happy that he got that one as well. Other shout outs from this weekend. McCranes continue to do what McCranes do. Just making a lot of plays and stuff like that. Shout out to Jackson Sanders, who the big question we talked about, is he going to get back into where are they going to utilize him after being brought out of the weekend starting rotation? They found a way to utilize him very well. So I think right now, if you're an Auburn baseball fan, you're leaving this weekend. Yeah, of course you're happy and excited about the series win, but I think you're starting to feel like they're coming out of that lull that they were in, where they were maintaining or dropping a midweek they shouldn't have, things like that. So the good vibes are all abounding for Auburn baseball right now, especially after getting one down in Gainesville. And by the way, there was a ton of stuff Auburn and Florida across the board this weekend. If you were paying attention, it was like Auburn versus Florida weekend, which was just wild. But congrats to them. All right, last thing in potpourri. This feels redundant, but it's worth mentioning, because we basically talk about this, if not every week, every other week, because usually that's how golf tournaments go. It's about a week off, week on, whatever. The Ford Collegiate Auburn men's golf got second overall, but I shouldn't say but, and just Jackson Coyven won the whole dang thing himself as an individual again.
Shocker.
His 10th victory of the year, had an incredible back nine. This is all on the back end of the Masters last weekend, where even Justin Thomas, an Auburn person, an Alabama person, he should have been an Auburn person. Yeah. But the point is, he was giving him some shout outs and things like that. He wins his 5th SEC Golfer of the Week award. I love the post from social media team. It's like, in other news, the sky is blue, because it's just the 5th one for him. And on top of that, again, in other news, the sky is blue. He is a Ben Hogan semifinalist, essentially the Heisman Trophy for that. 10 wins is what we're really focusing on here. But can we just, at this point, is there anybody that has a resume better than him? 5 SEC Golfer of the Weeks. He's got his 10th victory of his career, but I think, 5 out of the last 7 he's won. Can we just wrap this up now and give him the Ben Hogan Award for the 2nd time in his career?
I'm sure there's going to be people that are going to make any kind of argument they can to not give it to him, to share it with everybody and be equitable and whatever other garbage you want to say. But I saw somebody this week just basically assume it and said, Jackson Coyven continues to win. They just said he's going to get his 2nd Ben Hogan and become however many people to do that. Just it's in the bag, and the kid continues to do it every single week. I don't know what number you had me predict a few weeks ago on how many more he'd win. I think he's past it. And if he hasn't, he will by the time we talk about this next time. Like, it's just, the kid doesn't do anything else but win. He's going to be really fun to pull for, obviously, the rest of this year. But I can't wait for when we get to talk about the first majors he's won, the first time he wins his pro tournament. Because Jackson Coyven, some of you probably, which I don't get, but some of you are probably annoyed with us how much we talk about Jackson Coyven. It will not stop when he leaves Auburn. He will be winning much more, and being very wealthy for doing it. But we will be covering Jackson Coyven for quite a long time, as long as this show is able to be happening, I would imagine. So, congratulations to him, and it feels redundant, but just the kid keeps going.
I mean, just the sky is blue. That's all you need to know. The normal things are happening. Jackson Coyven is winning an individual title. Jackson Coyven is the SEC Golfer of the Week. Jackson Coyven should be winning the Ben Hogan Award. And then this does I just want to say it. This goes beyond obviously him. Great team that Auburn has. It's a really fun time again to be talking about Auburn golf in general, but Auburn men's golf. So congratulations, Jackson, on hitting your 10th. A rare feat for names like Tiger Woods, John Rahm, others that have accomplished that in college. So just once again, adding to the lore of all of this. So there you go. That's Auburn Potpourri. That's all we have time for in Auburn Potpourri. There were other things that we could throw in there, and I've got a list of things from the last several weeks that we can probably just tack on at the end of some of the other shows if they ever give us a moment to breathe. But either way, let's move into our first main topic this evening. A-Day Palooza, A-Day Bonanza, whatever you want to call it. Now, I will once again point out and be slightly a grumpy old man just for a second that this wasn't what we're used to in terms of A-Day weekend. I know Auburn officials, anybody who sees this, trust me, I understand. I'm not one of those people that's going to complain about rails or something like that in comment sections. I'm just going to just point out that, yeah, we would prefer to have this. I would prefer to have this with lots of other events happening on campus because it's A-Day weekend. Now, they did the A-Day week thing leading up to it. I get it. I'm not criticizing. I'm just letting it be known. That's what I prefer. Would you please put some of the other events out there as well? And by the way, I had a discussion with an Auburn fan who I think is started his own podcast. And I'm if they're watching this, I'm so sorry. I would have given you a shout out right now if I could remember your names and the name, but I met a lot of people this weekend. We had a discussion. Shut up.
Grumpy old man in every sense of the word. He's forgetting everything.
I can't remember your name. We talked actually about the Auburn club sports team and how there needs to be a better job of giving a calendar of events for them too, so that we can actually report on that and know when these things are happening. Don't have to go searching for it. Some social media for them does a really good job of that, but not all of them. And so I'm just sitting here saying, listen, we've got a show right here that is looking to talk about everything Auburn. So if you will make it easier for us to cover you, we will do it. Anyway,
a club sports alum right here.
That's right. Oh yeah, you're that Frisbee golf thing, right? Where
no. Ultimate Frisbee went to the national tournament for the first time, and all 4 years I was there. I don't want to.
Did you win anything? Did you win anything?
No, it's much harder to win. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to put other people down. But on the heels of that, you're right, because we've talked about the wheelchair team. They were honored during A-Day.
Yeah.
And it'd be great to be able to know how other people do it, because I'm sure many are more successful than we realize.
Oh yeah, they definitely are. Okay, let's talk about A-Day stuff. We'll try to break this up mostly into stuff about the game and then a little bit about the rest of the week and whatever we have time for here. But we know most of you are here to talk about the A-Day game. First one for brand new head coach Alex Golish, and he seemed very grateful for the crowd that showed up. Certainly, A-Day games don't bring the ginormous crowds, and you'll see people making comments off of one clip and saying, well, nobody was there, but then not look at the time when it was taken. Also not look, people are not going to send in the end zones a lot. People are also going to congregate to where the shade is, where I was, smartly, So
yeah, and food.
And food and stuff and bathrooms and things like that. So it's not a big crowd. And I don't know that we ever got an official attendance. Did they put one out there that I know of?
I never saw one.
What's your guess? I'm going to say it was probably 13,000. That's probably pushing it a little bit. You think it was more or less than that?
I would have said more at the height. I couldn't see below me very well, but I would have said like, I don't know. I would have said like 15 and up. I would have said around there.
Okay, now I was sitting on the shade side, which is where the majority of the people were, so I didn't get a good grasp looking across like you would at the section you're across from.
At the student side?
At the students, yeah. I saw the student side, which was still pretty full, but not the fullest it could be because it was the hottest side the entire time. So if I had had a chance to sit opposite, which I wasn't going to leave my nice shade, I'm just going to be honest. It was pretty nice up there. And so maybe you're right. It was closer to 15, but it was a pretty decent crowd outside for festivities and stuff. It was a pretty good crowd at Tiger Walk and stuff like that. So that was well done, folks. So kudos to the Auburn family for that in general. The game, obviously there's 1,000 ways we can talk about this. I hope none of you, and I know when I say this, I've already seen some of you, are not taking any way big opinions narratives away from spring. If you are doing that, if you're making statements like it's the same old Auburn based off one clip you saw, you are doing yourself and your team a disservice. Don't be those people. Don't be idiots. I'm sorry. I just said it, but I had to say it. But we will talk about things that we saw and experienced. 60. I'm a grumpy old man tonight. Can you tell? I've been dealing with some people. 66-43, Auburn offense wins this one. Now, people will react to that. There's a unique scoring system. We can talk about that if we have time to. But let's start right at the top where people are probably going to be having most of the discussion, the quarterbacks, Austin. You come into this prepared knowing that you're not going to see your main quarterback the whole time. I think Byron Brown played more than I thought he would, to be honest, the entire first half and a series or two maybe of the second half. Let's just be honest. Wasn't an impressive day for him. 2 interceptions for him. I would argue one clearly his mistake. The other one was a great play by a defensive edge in person in Jared Smith, just getting his bear paw up there and snagging something. But he also had some good throws here and there, things like that. Coach even talked about him post-game and said he didn't feel like he was seeing the middle of the field great today. It is what it is. It didn't look good. It's spring, folks. I'm surprised I haven't seen this floating out there more, Austin. You do remember Cam Newton, right? Kind of a big name.
Yep.
He had not a great spring game either. Now, I say that knowing I'm the guy that screams from the heavens, stop comparing him to Cam Newton. I know I just did it, but I'm just giving you the example. So
it's a good example.
It is. Were you worried about the throw in motion or anything, Austin, from earlier in the camp?
No, didn't think about it one time, to be honest. I should say that. The first time I saw him throw, I thought, yep, that does look different. Really didn't think about how it adjusted or messed with his timing or the lack of touch or anything like that when it throws the rest of the time. That was just my first time seeing it in person after all of you made a video go viral that had no business going viral. The rest of it, yeah, like you said, I didn't think he saw the ball or saw the field great. The first drive, those 2 deep balls, I don't think one was on him. I think one, I think it was Chaz Nimrod on one of them. I think he could have.
Yes, I think so.
He could have put a little effort into there, but it's probably first time going deep. You're getting the legs a little warm, so I get it. First time, I think he could have got something under it, and then the other one, I think he just slid him just a little bit too far in. I think it was Deshaun Spencer. So just some touch things. I don't expect anybody to be perfect out there. I think people were excited to see him and had wished they could have seen more of his throwing ability. I totally echo what you said about when Cam had a rough spring game. There's a family member of mine who I tend to make sure they know very well that we came away from that spring game and him saying Cam would ride the bench. Sometimes he watches this show regularly. I think that you can have those overreactions and you can live and die by them if you want to, but it all comes down to what happens in the fall. We are talking about Byram. I almost said Bryce Brown. We're talking about Byram and his
dude, bro. Sorry, go ahead.
and his throwing ability. But I mean, I think the kid could have had easily over 100 rushing yards if we were having fun out there and letting him go live. Certainly, you can see the strides and see the speed that he can come out with a big body.
Yeah.
It's just what it is for the week. I don't blame him for not letting him get live action and everything like that. But it's what you get from spring when the whole thing can't be on full display. But it is what it is. I'm not too worried about it. But I think we're going to talk about here in a second. But I was impressed with the quarterback room as a whole, just with the depth and how much of a grasp it looks like maybe Tristan Tia has on the offense. Lachlan Hewlett. Is there an L?
Hewlett. Yeah.
Both of them showed me things that were very impressive. And we've talked a lot about in the past of like when there was the Jackson Arnold, Deuce Knight, Walker White room. It was like this big, look at all the quarterback stars and all the recruiting rankings in this room. And obviously that didn't pan out very well. But when you see these 3 guys who really they're, different guys and you're facing different defenses, but the offense was smooth still the whole time, and everybody felt like they were intelligent about what they were supposed to do, and nobody looked like the lights were too big. Is impressive. So as a whole, I think the quarterback room was impressive.
Yeah, can we just agree at this point and going into the game? I think a lot of people thought this too. Tristan T is the number 2 based off of snaps,
Definitely.
how he was utilized, when he was utilized, and performance. I think he had the best day out of all the quarterbacks, which was, I don't want anybody to think that there's a quarterback controversy. And if you're thinking that, whoa, go
Yeah,
make
hold
sure
on.
you didn't get hit in the head or something. But Tristan T, you got to feel good about your situation past Byron Brown, because there's been years where you wonder what happens after the starting quarterback. So that felt good. With Lachlan Hewlett, you got to feel good about his familiarity with the offense. So that I think probably aided him in how he looked good at times in that game too. And then Reese Brush is brand new. You didn't get to see him a ton. So I think all in all, locker room, even with Byram not having a great day, I walked away seeing with what I needed to see, which is really more about the guys behind Byram Brown. And again, it's just spring right now. Probably the other thing on the offense that everybody's talking about are wide receivers, mainly because, hey, everybody's new. Like it's just wild, right? Quick note, Keyshawn Singleton, who a lot of people talk about, didn't get to play to later in the game. Discipline issue straight from coach's mouth, which he talked more so about. I see him as a stepson, and he needed to learn this lesson, things like that. I think that's good to hear in a sense, and hopefully that coaching and that went well and is being received well and all that stuff, because I think he will be a huge contributor. But we're not even, I think, today talking so much about a lot of the USF guys like Keyshawn. Nimrod was there, had a couple moments, but you also Neptune didn't get to play because he's been dealing with some injuries and things like that. We're really focusing on some of the younger guys, which is it's spring. This is when they tend to shine and get their moments, right? 2 names I think everybody wants to mention: Deshaun Spencer, and then Brian Williams Jr. as well. Probably more the Deshaun Spencer situation, because he had, I think, almost 90 yards on 9 catches or something like that.
93, yeah.
93. Wow, he's got it pulled right exactly up on there. Way to go, Austin. And number 9 too. So it kind of all coincided together as well. What did you think about Deshaun Spencer?
Well, and I'd throw Duke Smith in there too.
That's fair. Yeah, thank you for that.
Yep. I think Deshaun Spencer, obviously he's the youngest because he's the newest. He just got to campus and probably needed a Tiger Transit to find his way to the stadium. But I think that him being able to have such an integral role in this offense with the ones, like he was out there with the ones, and then also played a lot with the twos and with Tia. They seem to have a repertoire that was really good and worked really well. Same with Duke Smith. So that's impressive to see. I think we all expect the USF guys to have an understanding of this offense and an understanding of what they need to do. But for Deshaun Spencer and I just said his name,
Brian Williams. Duke Smith, yeah.
Well, and Brian Williams, who was out there a lot. Didn't have the stats, but was out there a lot with those same guys. To have an understanding of graphs to be thrown out there at the beginning was impressive. So I'm excited to see what those 2 guys can be. I like that this offensive staff is not afraid to play them this young if they're contributing and if they're understanding what all they need to do in order to be on the field. Then more power to them.
Yeah, and keep this in mind. I think a lot of people were excited for Bryce King. He had a fine day, like it was just a normal day, whatever. That's fine. But just because these guys are having the great day doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be the starters. But what it does is make the coaches pay attention to them and go, okay, we see what we've got in this game-like situation from these guys. Maybe we start getting them a few more reps and looks to see what they can do when we actually do start do the real practicing for the season as we get closer to fall, which is not going to be too far away, folks. I know we just wrapped up A Day. It'll be here before you know it. So I was excited by what I saw about the wide receivers, not because I think we've got the next Freeze 4 or whatever it is, but just because some of the younger talents, what you're hoping to see was very good to see. And I'm glad that you mentioned Duke Smith, because that's a guy that was buried in the depth chart behind the big names. And so it was just fun to see him get to shine in that moment. We have to spend a lot of time on it, but Jeremiah Cobb just looked like Jeremiah Cobb. I mean, like, had almost busted one loose for like 70 yards or something like it was. I mean, all facets of his game seem to be going. He ran people over, ran past them, juked them out. Thankfully, they like ran him 4 times and got him out of there. And that was it at that point. And so I just wanted to mention that off stop. The only other thing I think we need to talk about is the defense. And we've seen people in the comments for the live portion of this show talking about it, that the defense should be ahead of the offense. Coaches even said that. About, just typically that's how it works. Plus, I think it was a good point. This is technically year 3 of a lot of these guys being in this system, brand new for some of this offense. I know the USF guys have been around for a little bit here. The interceptions are fun if you're a big defensive guy, but they're terrible if you're focusing on the offense, with 2 of those coming by way of Byron Brown. So what did you make of the defense as a whole? Like, with all some of the talent we lost, did you think that there were some areas of concern or anything like that? How did you feel walking away from A-Day about the defense?
I was impressed. I thought that Jared Smith was the standout of the day. He looks like he could be the next. He looks like a unit. He looks like he could be the next great Auburn rusher, the next guy that could be the guy that absolutely wreaks havoc in the backfield. He was a big one to get retained during this coaching change, and so to see him produce and take that next step as kind of the sole focus guy, he against the ones, he was out there on the defense against the ones. So. He was absolutely unblockable. Xavier Atkins had a big play, burst through the hole, and just absolutely lit up. I think it was, excuse me, Omar Mabson. I'm just allergic to how good he is. I think that, those 2 guys you expect to be what they were, and they still stood out. So that's impressive. The secondary was hard for me to judge just because I think you saw a lot of short and intermediate throws that were successful, but it was hard to see what happened downfield. That could be a good thing. It's hard to tell, but I think that, like you said, and like our viewers have said, the Durkin defense is just ahead because of time, and ahead because they have a continuity of what they're supposed to do and they have proof of concept that it works. So for this Auburn offense to be going against that level of defense is tough for a viewer standpoint on A-Day, but really good for what you're tested with. And so I hope we get to see that come to fruition and be a good thing once we get to play some other teams in other uniforms.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people talking about the defensive back, some excitement there. Anquan Fagans, I think, stood out. I think he was one of the leading tacklers on the day. Gaskin, coming over from USF, was tied, I believe, with him. So, maybe you feel better about the defensive back group where some of that talent was lost. Xavier Atkins just literally blew somebody up, and thankfully got him out of there too after not too long. You didn't really need to see what Xavier Atkins is going to do. It's just nice to see it. Hey, he's still doing it, just to his own team this time. Yeah, so maybe some excitement from the defensive front, some excitement on the back end as well. The interceptions, you were excited for a second and you're like, oh no, that was our quarterbacks they just intercepted, or the wide receivers that tipped the ball and, made that interesting. But I think you walk away with the defense feeling pretty good about them with what you can, acknowledging that it is just spring at this point. One final note on just the game. Can we all just give my man, Alex McPherson, another big shout out? Not only did I get a video of him during warmups from 55 hitting the upright, but it's not the miss that we're focusing on. It's where he hit it on the upright. So for his strength, if that wasn't enough proof for you that he is at this point with his health journey that he's been on, feeling a lot better and stronger, he knocks a 55-yarder, I believe is what it was, in the 4th quarter. And there was just like this big celebration between him and coach right after that, between him and the players. Of course, he points out to the person that he has to thank, his Lord Savior, for getting him through this journey. And man, what was a great moment. I like those are the things that A-Day is built for, is just personal journeys that people have been on and having them show an appreciation for it. So shout out to Alex McPherson.
Shout out to Alex McPherson and what a great moment for him. We're all looking forward to seeing him just in full on strength and ready to be an absolute weapon for this Auburn offense. And I'm excited to see how he can be this year now that he seems to have everything under control. I'm telling you, those 55-yarders, though, some secret intel here. They were powered by a good Byron's biscuit that morning. I just happened to have witnessed that with my own 2 eyes. So I'm telling you, I think that's the secret sauce right there.
Yeah. That was just a really special moment. And we are taking a lot of things from the comment section as we normally do. I will acknowledge that 4th quarter little celebration thing they all did together as it started and ran out there and hyped it up together. Obviously they do that on the sideline, but that was a really cool thing as well. This is what A-Day is about. Not the serious stuff. We're just getting a look at everybody, but just everybody wants to feel good about Auburn football at this point. I think that was one of those moments where that was really special too. Just maybe wrapping up the 8A talk because we have other things we got to talk about. Can I just give a shout out to whoever made the decision to finally invite back the Auburn band and how much joy that brought me to not only have them there at Tiger Walk, welcoming everybody in, but also out there in the stands where they rightfully belong, doing every bit of everything they do for game day. Like, whoever stopped that, I just want to find you and say mean things to you.
Well, they might not be here anymore.
So that was awesome. Did you think, Austin, for a second there that they were about to fly an eagle when Freebird came on?
Yes. I told my dad. I looked at him and I said, "We're about to fly the eagle here. They're playing Freebird."
They got me so bad with that.
I do think that would have been. I thought that would have been something to see.
Yeah, it would have been awesome. I don't know that we're ever going to get that.
Big time delay here, aren't I?
Yeah, you are on a big time delay. It's struggling, my man. It's struggling. So you might want to switch over or something. I don't know, but it's been a struggle the last about 5 minutes. Yeah, but as he kind of deals with his tech issues, there, wrapping it up, we thought we might discuss the scoring system and the 8A awards and things like that. But I hope that you all enjoyed it because it got back to more of the same of that. Opportunity to do a traditional 8A game where we all were able to just kind of get back to some normal things in the sense of new regime, new all that kind of stuff, and it felt a little bit better. I don't think we're gonna have time to talk about the Tiger Trail, all that stuff, Austin, because we are way over time, and I don't know that your internet can handle it, to be honest with you.
Probably not. Let's just be honest.
It's been, listen, it knows that we have so much to talk about, and that's why it's just trying to mess with us right now. Let's move on to the second major topic of the evening. Last week, we previewed for you the renderings and what was going to be anticipated, the approval of a project to enhance, improve, quote unquote, expand the north end zone of Jordan-Hare. We have done a previous segment about that. I would encourage you to go check that out as well. But boy, did we get the details this week with the official approval of, as it is called, Ever Auburn, the Jordan-Hare North project. And this thing is going to be, not only for us, an incredible amount of things that we can talk about for probably weeks if we really wanted to break this thing out. Tonight, just know this is just us talking about it to the best of our abilities as an overview right now. I want to send you all to everauburn.com. It is an incredible website put together, which lays out why this is happening, the way in which it is happening, the heart behind it, all of this. And so if you have questions, if you're dropping comments on Facebook about things that aren't related to this, I need you to go do your research before you say those things. Go check out our previous segment looking at the initial renderings and now compare that to what we have here with what you can see on everauburn.com with this North End Zone project. It is absolutely immaculate, absolutely beautiful. Just the website alone has got me excited about this project. So you're probably going to hear us talking about this for several weeks, and this is just an overview of everything that we have here. So, Austin, I've said a lot here, a lot I didn't need to in certain parts of this segment. So, let me just give you an opportunity to just what do you want to say about this thing from what you've seen?
Well, and we're running real long tonight, so like you said, this is just a 30,000 foot view of this thing, and we'll have plenty of time to go into it. I've just got a couple things. The first thing is I'll go old grumpy man. My beef with the overall perception of this thing is the constant outbursts and constant yelling that, well, this is just for the upper elite. This is just for the wealthiest of them all. This is for Jimmy Rain, and this is for whoever else. And I totally disagree with that.
They've got their
mindset.
Stuff already in the middle of the stadium. What do they need this for?
I totally disagree with that mindset, and I think that this serves all of the Auburn people so much more than people realize. First of all, if you look throughout the just big picture, is that these have to be these there are clubs and suites inside this thing. It will cost you a lot of money to get one of these probably for the entire season. No one's denying that. But there are people out there who through surveys and through just not looking at the bottom line, people are just trying to see if they can sell it. There's people out there they have, and John Cohen said in his letter, there's people out there on a wait list with surveys that have said they're willing to pay big money to be able to have an experience like this. So why are you leaving that money on the table? So yes, those people are out there, but if you think those people are just sitting on their behinds at home and not going to any games, they're somewhere in the stadium right now. This moves those people to this area where they can pay their dollar, they can put their money where their mouth is, have the experience they want, and that the good Lord has blessed them financially to be able to do. And then that opens up a space for these people over here who might not be willing to go that far, but they're willing to come up here where those people were. And then those people have an open spot. Those people can move up there. Other people, and then look what you know, there's some open season tickets available for some of you who would like to go to a game at a normal price at the lowest level in the upper corner deck. Like it elevates everything. It's how supply and demand work. I wasn't very good at economics. I barely got through it with a B in Titchener Hall, but it makes sense to me how it benefits everybody. Then you will go through this website and you look at how the other amenities that are there. All the dining is available, open to any people. All these food halls and Pat's Cafe and these things that you're seeing where everyone's like, well, that must be nice for the rich and wealthy, and I better open my checkbook to get in there. Everything on this website says it's open to any ticket person that's in there. You might have to walk there to get it, but you can hold on to the invisible handrail on your way there. So I think that you have to see that there's things that are going to be available to open to the public during games, so you can see this beautiful monstrosity they're building. But also then you look at these food halls are going to be open during the day throughout the week to the student body. For the people that are on the campus every single day. How long has Jordan-Hare Stadium been such an expensive building that's open 8 Saturdays a year?
Yeah.
And now there's going to be opportunities for people to eat and congregate inside it throughout the year in business meetings or conference rooms or whatnot. But for heck, just for the freshman and sophomore to go eat at. I think it's fantastic. I hate the moniker that this is just for the wealthy and that that's only for the most expensive people and not the common man, because I couldn't disagree with it more.
Let me give you just the rundown of the stuff that's on the website. And this is what we're referencing here, folks. And so this is like their main points of what this is accomplishing. Advancing the historic investment in Auburn's future, obviously because of financial reasons we've broken out here about people that want extra amenities, but also opportunities for that to change availabilities for others, as you've already broken down. Enhancing the game day experience, that flow of traffic around that area. Not only has it opened up more since they've done some legwork to prepare for this, but it's going to get better and look, a heck of a lot.
5 new gates. That's what I asked for last week. Is more entry to the stadiums. 5 new gates.
5 times. Connecting the upper decks. Can I just tell you, as someone who is there at these games to do things for you all, I am so excited about this because now Kyle has an opportunity to actually go film things for you, like the band and stuff like that, and not have to kill himself. Like, can I just be honest with you? Like, winter chicken dinner right there for me, right there. Like, I didn't eat Austin. That didn't cross my mind until maybe like a day ago. And this is like a 3-day-old announcement at this point. Oh, wait a minute. This will connect. I can walk across to the other upper deck. And how many times have there been people that you could have to get tickets piecemeal and like yours is in that upper deck and mine's up here? You could actually go like see each other for a minute and just hang out in the common area of this space and things like that. Traffic flow is about to get, at least on the surface, better. We don't know until we actually all get in there and this is built in several years, but that is huge. So I just wanted to emphasize that right there. Premium spaces. I know that's going to trigger some of you. Get over it. I'm sorry. You just scream jealousy at that point. I am not an elite person or one of these people that, you can just come look at my checkbook and in Austin's internet to see that we're not elite, but I'm excited for their opportunity. You brought up the elevating the student experience of them being able to go in there, other than just sometimes 6 games a year, and then linking campus and the stadium with this new plaza space. So we haven't even touched the details of this yet, Austin, with all that's available for that. I did love what they did with the future picture here of showing what it's like a half picture of what it currently looks like with the skeleton, right? Everybody jokes on that.
The erector set.
And then the erector set. And then you can see what it will look like in concept alone back. So go look at that picture. And can I just go ahead and show my cards to everybody? And I love some of y'all in our loyal followership here love to give me crap about this. You're about to get about 4 years worth of construction updates from me. So just deal with it. I'm sorry. I enjoy the heck out of it because I like watching things come up to fruition, and there's going to be a lot of that going on, at least the first part of the years on the exterior part of this work and stuff like that. Maybe the final thing that we have time tonight for, Austin, and as I said, we will talk about this in more detail. Who knows how long, but let's talk about the project timeline, because I think that's an important bit of information for people, because I did see a good point. As much as there's excitement for this, I think some people are disappointed that this won't be completed for big games like the Notre Dame game, meaning, it'd be nice to have someone visit us with the good reputation we have of being good hosts and things like that, but also to see our brand new shiny thing. Part of it will be completed. So let's walk through, right, sitting here in April of 2026, what's going to be happening. Your project timeline is listed on the website, everauburn.com. May 2026, preliminary site work begins. That's going to be the boring part. Things being laid out, cranes probably going up. Hey, do you think the crane guy is going to be back for the game?
Gotta be. He's gotta be.
What a celebrity. I mean, he's just living his best life right now. He's like, y'all keep on constructing. I've got my free.
I got season tickets.
That's what I'm about right there.
He's got him for the next 3 years.
I'm incredibly afraid of heights, but I will, to some degree, I will go up there with you and we'll do some fun things content-wise.
I will never do that.
For that, I would do it one time and I'll probably pass out. Summer 2026 is your next point, project groundbreaking. So really May, things being set up. Summer of this year, 2026, you're going to really see some of that groundwork starting to go in. Really, from that point, it's a 2-year gap until essentially fall 2028, when they will complete the levels 0 to 3 of this. We'll break that down at a later time of all of that. Spring 2029, levels 4 of 6. So what this means, Austin, is that only 0 to 3 levels will be ready for that Notre Dame game, which I had someone bring up to me earlier. And then completion in fall of 2029, kickoff completed for Jordan-Hare. Now, what that has me concerned, Austin, is, yeah, they say for kickoff, but that's a really tight window to get all this ready for the start of that particular season. So we'll have to look how things weighed out with the football schedule that was announced for 2029. But what do you think about this? I mean, does it feel like a long process, or does it make sense to you? What do you think?
In the grand scheme of things, to me, it looks pretty quick. I'll be honest. I think, there's now it'll feel longer as we go through, 3 whole seasons with seeing it under construction. But in the grand scheme of things, it looks really quick to me. It just looks like something that when you look at the renderings and the massiveness of it and you see how big it is, you think, that's going to be a big old project for quite a long time. 3 seasons or 3 years, 3.5, I guess you could say, from now it's done, is kind of impressive to me. So I'm excited to see that. It's going to be the talked about thing on every Auburn football TV broadcast for the next 3.5 years.
Yep.
It's going to be the Jarrett Stidham from Texas for 3.5 years. But what great exposure for Auburn. We're proud of it. And I hope a lot of people do talk about it, because it's a massive upgrade and it's a massive thing a lot of people have wanted and dreamed about for a long time.
You talked about it being the discussion point for a lot of football broadcasts and all that kind of stuff coming up over the next several years. At least we did the groundwork, so we don't have to put a video screen on a crane like Vanderbilt. Like it's bad that we can do, we're the engineering school, so it makes sense. So like we can do this stuff a lot, ironically, better than the smart school. So that's really interesting when you think about that. But yeah, whether you think it's long, short, whatever, there's the timeline for you to make your assessments of that. But it looks like the first major point is that fall 2028, not really a specifier there of when in fall that gets completed. But maybe for that season, we're starting to see the first structures that we're going to be utilizing, at least for that particular season. I'm excited, Austin. If nothing else, for construction updates that I know y'all love from me. But
I will ask you, sir, as the resident zoologist here.
Yeah.
Because we point people here to everauburn.com. You need to check out this website. Really, really well done and lays a lot out. Is very excited. Like Kyle said, we'll get into more of the details later. If you haven't seen it yet, our wish of the scoreboard being integrated is on there. We'll get to it. We'll have time. But Kyle,
sorry, hold on. We can't move before that. We got to acknowledge that, and I'm so glad that you brought it up. If nothing else, I've given you 1,000 reasons to love this project. They found a way to work in the old scoreboard. The old girl is coming home,
and it's on the ceiling.
It's on the freaking ceiling in this common area, and you can go see the kick six score stuck on there. Make fun of it, Bama fans. I don't care. This is awesome. Like, if you can't find one reason to be happy about this project, then you're just a grumpy old man like I was at the start of the segment. So the scoreboard, the old girl is back. We got our wish, and I'm so glad that you brought that up before we ended.
The other small tidbit I'll allude to is Kyle, have in your days of working at the Raptor Center, what I wanted to ask is, have you ever heard about that the corner the eagle flies from is based on the wind and based on the wind direction and how things are going that day, a la similar to Tinkerbell flying from the castle?
Wow, what a correlation. I would say I have not spoken to anyone officially about that, but using my expertise, you would want to take things into consideration like that, certainly, because, they're aiming for this small lure that's down there. Right. And they have incredible eyesight, and they're, they go through training, so they know what to expect. Right. So, but anything could wreak havoc with their senses, with their comfort level. So yes, I mean, like, that could be an actual thing in their protocols, not having been part of the Raptor Center volunteer staff or any part of it for a long time. Like, I can't speak to what the current protocols are for training, but yeah, I mean, it wouldn't shock me that could.
I've always heard that and didn't know if it was just an old wives' tale, but I was intrigued when I saw in this space there will be a dedicated eagle flight space, and that there will be a dedicated space for the eagle to fly from permanently. Mm-hmm. As someone who sits on the other side, that kind of makes me sad. I won't get her to come over me in a few years, but I was interested to get your take on that. That's probably a boring way to end the show, but I was interested.
I love that. These are things that I need you to bring up because I'm gushing about everything else. But that's an interesting thing to think about too, because it will standardize the practice of that, and everybody will know. Because you think about how many games you're at Auburn, you're like, where is it? Everybody's like looking for the signs of them setting up or things like that. And so, and you don't have to wait for, if you'll turn your attention to the northwest corner of the end zone, everybody's like, where's northwest, so you now know where it's going to come from. And so all of that excitement, all of that energy is going to be funneled at this one area. Plus, in terms of logistics of training and things like that for future Eagles, you can imagine that standardizes the process a little bit. So another fine point to add, folks, this is just the small details that we have had time to talk about. Y'all can be mad at us, but we
don't have time to talk about.
We got other episodes coming up to talk about this project and so much more. And I couldn't be happier about it, because we're thankful for things to talk about on an Auburn podcast. All right, folks, we're way over time, way overtired. And I said a few things probably I shouldn't have this episode, but I did it because I'm done with certain people and certain narratives. But I guess that's why we do what we do. Thank you guys for being here. Episode 169 is in the books. As always, we remind you of ways to contact us and myself personally. You can go through the direct messages of most social media sites out there. E2C Network at gmail.com is a great way for you to get in contact with me and the entity of E2C Network in general. Where can they find you?
Yeah, at Austin G. Scott on most social networks. Probably, honestly, the best thing by this point is pigeon carrier mail, seeing as I'm not a technological person and don't have normal internet. So you just find me however you want to find me.
Just go to the top of the stadium and just call out Austin at some point. He's not that far away, so he might see you or something.
It's not that far. Lee County. It's a small perimeter of the Auburn city boundary. Just start walking. We'll find each other eventually.
His internet's not great, but his eyesight is pretty good. I'll vouch for that. So he can find you. Yeah. He can just get up to a high point at some point. Well, I was trying to give you something here to end the show on the podcast.
Thanks. I'd like to think so.
You kept me from going further down the rails in the grumpy old man segment, but thank you for that. As always, we remind you, the Auburn Creed asks you to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with God. We ask you to do the same thing. War Eagle.
War Eagle.